I wanted to make this short video. I've put this up um, many times, but it's in conjunction with a longer YouTube video, and I don't know which one I would refer you to at the moment. I've made quite a few. I wanted to respond because a lot of people are being very kind in trying to help find pictures of my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor. I'm Margaret Ann Windsor, born in 1939, and my father was Edward VIII, who never married Wallis Simpson, an impostor did, became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. My father was always married to American, born in Madison, Wisconsin, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor. She was Queen of England, 36, should have remained. My father was taken down with character assassination. Um, and I'm going to skip because when I found out my name, I always knew something was wrong with my birth, the way I grew up. But 1983, after I had been out to Larry Flint's home in Bel Air, uh, I started finding out about my kidnapping. He had helped me in the campaign for U.S. Congress because I was writing a book in Marietta, Georgia, when he was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, uh, March the 6th of 1978. The book was never published. It was about mind control, the Tesla files, and illnesses you can cure or create an illness and the connections in murders done in patterns. And Mr. Flint was one of those shot by a program shooter. And he did an article which I usually put up in, it was a full page in Hustler, and uh, it was when I ran for the presidency. That was April of 84. And I wanted to put this up because then I had no money, and I can't, I've tried to put all this up. I want to skip to this, though, get to about my mom. Looking back, there were always Brits there and Germans, and they saved my life more than once. I did not know. I was never actually told. It was more like role playing they did. And they'd show up where you wouldn't think they would be. But let me just, it's very hard to explain some of it. And it's been throughout my life like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. Uh, on the bus from Nashville, Tennessee, or Madison, Tennessee, it's a suburb of Nashville. I was coming up October the 86th with no funds, and literally I was just put out on the street again. I was on the bus, and at a way, it was Trailway, because I remember when I got to Roanoke where it was, and Trailway went out of business. Anyway, I got on the bus with what few bucks I had, no money for food or anything. At a certain point in the way from Nashville to Roanoke, there was just one person, I believe, the best I remember, a man in the bag, and it had cleared out, and it was this lady from England. And the odd thing about it was she was eating an onion and biscuit, and this is about all I had to eat growing up. I had nothing. Um, it was so sick where they put me in, dirty, filthy, mean. I didn't even have rags really to wear. So mistreated. But anyway, she had a pair of pants on that were a light brown, had a string in a spot that you couldn't reproduce that. It looked like the pants I had not long before then been wearing. And anyway, she sat down beside me. She was on the bus and sat down beside me. We started talking, and she said to me about my father, King Edward VIII. She said, no, she didn't mean this disrespectful. She was very nice. She's making a point to me. It's kind of cryptic. We were talking. She said, your father, and King Edward VIII. That old man is still alive. Believe it. And then, okay, wait a minute now. Okay, I got into Abington, and this is October, and I had to get off and walk through the little town. It was hot during the day, and I hadn't had no food. So people will say, they ask questions like I can't answer. I could, but it gets into me telling all this stuff, trying to get people to listen to me. Well, why didn't she give you some money? Well, she wasn't supposed to, I would think. So anyway, I'm supposed to do what I have done. I got off in Abington, and I walked a long way to the sheriff's department. He bought me a ticket. Salvation Army did, I guess. And I got back, walked back, got on the bus back, well, up to Roanoke. And I had not been to Roanoke except through on a bus before. And it was kind of scary. All this has been scary. I got in about 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's dark. I don't have the money for coffee or anything, so I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. I went in the bus station, and it was Trailway. I remember where Trailway was and where Greyhound was. Trailway was downtown, across from where the metro is now. I went in so scared, and the bus station was darkened. There wasn't that much light. And I looked, and here's the same lady. And this is at 3 o'clock in the morning. Her bus would have come in a long time that she was on. And she said to me, I guess I looked surprised, and she said to me, she says, we'll come back and get you here or take you home from here. I was told that twice, by the way, by her and another person that I appreciate so much, all of them. But he seems to have been quite helpful in trying to get me back. He said the same thing, only said, well, anyway, I'm trying to laugh. I can't hear. I can't. Things are so bad here. Anyway, I I don't know what I did the rest of the night. There was no place to go. I guess they let me stay in the bus station. And I was directed up to the rescue mission, which back then wasn't anything like they have today down there. I guess that's where I went. And I remember I stayed there a couple of nights, and you had to get out and go look for a job. And if I tried telling them, which I know now, they've always known. This was pre-done for me to come here. Anyway, I'm just going to say I stayed at the rescue mission. You have to go to the religious meetings, and I went to stay a few days. And I saw this lady come in, and she's got a cane, and she's dressed in black like Georgia O'Keeffe, my aunt, always dressed. At this point, I knew who Georgia O'Keeffe was. I had learned who my mom is, but I didn't have a picture of my mom. Well, my mom, let me remind you, she was 40 when I was born in 39, so she's aged. This is 86. Okay, she comes in and sits right across from me, and she leaves, and there's a man with her, and a young, not real young, but anyway, the next morning, I slept in the rescue mission, and I'm walking down, going to the library or going with someone to try to find a cup of coffee. And she's on one of the buildings, and this man is with her. She walks out to me, and she slept on the ground, and she walks up to me, and she says, I chose to do this because I've had to sleep there so many times. Cold. So she's known her, my father, they weren't allowed to help me. Anyway, something I don't know what she was relating to. She looked up at the Well, it was a rescue mission. The rescue mission, but it was, I'm not sure she meant that it was beyond the I don't know. She looked up and she said something about they can't evict you from there because I own it. And she said something about Roebuck, which I associated with Sears and Roebuck, but I never knew what she meant. Now, a few days later, I had managed to get a live-in here in Roanoke, and I remember I had $12 on me. It was just part-time. It was, I worked a few days, and then I went to the library again because I hadn't been hired and I had no place to stay but the rescue mission. I went in, and if I'm not mistaken, it was on a Sunday, and she was there, like she was uh, waiting on me. And I don't remember what was said, but I walked up to her, and I thought she was cold, it had been cold. She's elderly. And I told her, I said, I've only got a few bucks. Can I help you? And she said, no. She said, come with me. And I walked over, and they had a children's library. She was standing there in front of this big book. And I went with her, and I don't remember what was said anymore. It was short, but I remember I reached up and kissed her cheek, and that's unusual. I don't do that. And I started crying. And that's all I can remember of it. I remember when the few days prior, when she slept on the ground, slept out, and the young man was with her, she said, he takes care of me. If you go back to Georgia, she had the companion Oliver, and I can't remember his last name. It was a Hispanic name, I think. But actually, he was helping Georgia, supposedly, but he gained control of her will, and it was an illegal will. So the O'Keeffes couldn't even get to Georgia in the last days. So that's all I'm going to put up. The young man would be, to me, symbolic of the one that took care of my Aunt Georgia. So there's something else I was going to put up here. I don't think anybody's going to find a picture of her. The Illuminati, if they're powerful enough to take down my dad to begin with doubles and lies and the families involved, they pretty much took care of my mom. They had to get her out of the way then, like she never existed. So there was something else I want to tell. There was something when I looked up. My mom lived in Beverly Hills, had a home, and history is all a friggin' lie. They've got her dying in, I believe it was September of '84. Well, she was alive in '86. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Anyway, that's a lie. She did not. But then I was out there at Larry Flint's in the campaign just a few months, about a year prior to supposedly she died. That's a lie, was buried there. Now, I want to get back to Roanoke real quick. Maybe you don't understand it. A lot of people do. I'm going to go ahead and tell it. So I ended up staying here, and I would go to the library. I love to read. I would go to the library, and plus, part of the time I could not get a place, most of the time, a place to stay, and I would often stay at the rescue mission. And you had to go out and look for a job, and then I'd come to the library. A lot of people did, just to get out of the cold or whatever. Anyway, over the years, I was there quite a bit. And for many years, this is easy to check out. A lot of people in Roanoke know who I am. They do not help me, period. They do not come up to me and say hi, nothing. I'm closed down social services. Anyway, this is going to go off. stay penniless. I can pay the rent now that I get a few bucks, and then I understand that could be taken away. uh, Not funny, but what can I do with it? So the people outside aren't hearing me here. For a long time downtown, there's more that happened here at the library when I first came here, and I put that up. I'm not going to. I'm just going to stick with my mom. Later, these two had been there for quite a while, and they stayed for like 6, 7, 8 years after I lived in Roanoke, maybe a few years more. But anybody could look at them, and they worked in the office up on the second floor, I believe it was. The office part, I mean, where you go check out books and you do all this, and the computers are. And so help me, she had her hair, she was slim. They had a look-alike Wallis Simpson and a look-alike pretending to be my father was an imposter, but you get the point. The two of them together, you would get the gist that it was the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, Wallis and my dad, which, of course, my dad never married Wallis. She was a double. But here you got the two lookalikes that would be stand-ins or double. And they look so much, I mean, he looked just like the picture in the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, the illegals, and she did too. She always wore hair in their clothes, and they were up there, and they were deliberately put there. So that's all I can say. I can't. I hope it ends right now. I'm having a rough time. But I want to explain that to a couple of people on there who I appreciate so much them trying to help. And I wish I could find a photo of my mom. I don't think they will. I think they've all been redone and reassigned pages in books saying it's my mom, and it's not my mom. My mom was still alive. She didn't die then, and I don't think there's any pictures left of her.